rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. Oh, I'm laughing because the Rumble chat just mentioned that Biden apparently tried to get onto the plane that the former hostages were actually on rather than going over to Air Force One, proving once again that the man was not involved in those negotiations and is literally a mushroom brain, or oatmeal brains, as I like to call them. Hello, everyone. Hello, Whiskey Warrior P1s. How are you? It is Friday, the last day of the work week. I already know that Amy is going to try out her chainsaw or get on a chainsaw or something like that. Hopefully you come back with all your digits, sweetie. But anyway, sorry. But anyway, I wanted to ask you guys, because I've actually done this. Am I looking a little clearer to you? Do I look a little more resolute? And by that, I mean, I got a new camera. Thanks to all of you guys out there who have contributed to the program, I actually got a 4K level camera. Now, that being said, I am still transmitting in just what is called 1080p. But yeah, I wanted to get a better camera, and by the way, it's also a pan tilt zoom camera too, but it's frozen in place. At least let's hope. So if something weird happens during the broadcast, you guys will know exactly what's going on in terms of the camera. So yeah, I wanted to get one, and so I've got one, and I'm trying to improve my look, make myself a little bit more, quality wise, to get up there with those of the likes of Sean Parnell, Dan Bongino, all of those wonderful people, because of course, good quality programming and quality broadcasts are what we are all trying to get there. All right. I want to thank, by the way, once again, good old Buddy Weiser. He is just a fantastic whiskey warrior, but he sent me this background. So I've got another background again, as far as that goes. So that's absolutely fantastic. All right. So let's get on with tonight. Oh, you know what? I messed up. That's okay. We'll go ahead and listen to my news once again. We'll go ahead and listen to my news once again about the with the Pledge of Allegiance. I forgot to switch her out for somebody else. So if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hats, put your hand over your heart, and do me a favor and let's follow along with my news over on Rumble with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And of course, I thank her for submitting that. And yes, 3 Chevy, I do mess up every once in a while. It does happen, I promise you. Anyway, so thank her for submitting that wonderful rendition. If you would like your rendition to be played here on the broadcast, record yourself saying it in your style, then send me the audio file to my email address, fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans at AmericanPerspective.online. And you can also send in questions of the week, or question of the week, which I don't have one for tomorrow. So hint, hint, one of you guys should send it in. So thank you. Oh, and apparently the 739 Sea Rays. This is Outlaw Dogs swim group, I'm going to call it, because I don't think it's the official swim team. But the 739 Sea Rays need good luck at their championships tomorrow. So wish them good luck for tomorrow to get that taken care of. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead. And I'm not wearing their shirt. This is amazing. I'm not wearing their shirt for this, but let's go ahead and talk about theflagshirt.com. And here, I'll just pop over here and do this right. Ciao. August, they have some August deals going on right now. Theflagshirt.com has up to 50% off select styles. And you can go and check out all of their styles if you go to theflagshirt.com. That's theflagshirt.com. And by the way, if you order $75 or more, they will give you free shipping on that order. Also, too, if you go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online, you can get a coupon code that you can enter in at checkout in the promo box and get $5 off your order. My gift to you. Go to theflagshirt.com, and while you are there, also open up another window and go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online to get that promo code for $5 off your order. Go to theflagshirt.com and get yourself patriotized. All right. So, apparently, it was announced today that our wonderful and most esteemed vice president has received enough votes to now be the Democrat presidential nominee, according to the DNC chair. And you can go and check this out right here. This is in the Epic Times. The official delegate voting process will continue until August 5th. However, Harris has met the threshold to make the nomination. So the race, as I told you a couple of days ago, she was going to be the nominee. I mean, they literally said, oh yeah, there's nobody else in the race. We're done. We're not doing it. And so, here you go. She's been anointed. I don't even know why they bothered with this. They should have just said, you know what? We're not even going to do a convention. You know, it's not even worth us getting together and talking and having voting and anything, because, I mean, let's face it. She's anointed. They have decided. They have put down their foot, and they've, well, not they, because let's be honest with you, it wasn't the Democrats who actually anointed her, because 14 million plus people voted for Joe. This is all the doing of Obama, Pelosi, and Kamala Harris herself, who got out of the race, they forced Joe Biden out of the race. So there you go. There it is. She's secured enough votes. She is now the nominee. Well, I wonder if Trump, and actually I even said this to my friend, because I found out earlier today on this. I was talking on the phone to Steven Stiles, and I was like, hey, you know what? I think it would be awesome if Trump, in his recognition of this, say, call me to get the debate set up. Because he has constantly maintained that he wasn't going to do it until she was named the Democrat nominee. And so what he should have said is, okay, well, now that you've been anointed properly, I'll accept your request for a debate, and freaking just smack the shit out of him. But anyway. All right. God, what a freaking nightmare. I can't even imagine. The freaking Democrats are supposed to be the ones defending democracy, and here they're not even doing anything that is even democratic. Well, this article came out, and I was thinking about this, and a lot of people have been asking about it too, by the way. In regards to her ability to take a press conference without having, a teleprompter, kind of basically doing what I do almost every single night, although I have a plan, but reality-wise, I just speak. That's just out of my knowledge and understanding and everything else. It's all a part of it. But here we go. And this was written a couple days ago, so it's actually like 14 or 15 days since she's been nominated, anointed. Kamala Harris has not held a press conference since emerging as the presumptive Democrat nominee. Well, there's a reason for that, folks. There's a reason why. They do not want her in front of the cameras without a script. And by the way, she did a quote-unquote press conference when they went and picked up the released prisoners from Russia. But you'll notice, if you watch the videos of it, she went and had a binder, kind of like Karine Jean-Pierre, in front of her. She read from the binder, slapped that binder shut, and walked away. Didn't ask any kinds of questions. She didn't ask any kind, or she didn't answer any kind of questions. She didn't accept any kind of questions. And you'll also notice too, I don't know if anybody's realized this, but she has not been put on the spot with any kind of interviews that would have her laugh. Okay? That would have her laugh. So, yeah, they are really trying hard to make up and make her into some sort of a brilliant individual. Well, speaking about this, let's go ahead and listen to this. So here's one of the few times she actually did this. She was off script on the tarmac in front of the pressers, and here is what she said.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. It's an incredible day.
Okay, did you catch that? I have no idea what the hell she really said. Hey, just for shits and giggles, let's go ahead and listen to that one more time.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. It's an incredible day.
Okay, as I've told you guys multiple times, when somebody talks in circles like that and uses language that is uses that kind of language, like, large words and things like that, she's basically saying, well, this is significant. I don't know if you remember, but we talk about the significance in the passage of time. The significance in the passage of time, and is the significance of the passage of time is so significant that time has a significant passage. I know I'm doing a very bad interpretation of her, but seriously, this, you expect her to win a freaking debate against Donald Trump, who goes off script all the time? The Democrats, all they do is they suck. They suck so bad that, by the way, my hashtag on X saying only morons vote Democrat is actually getting some traction. There's some people who have been liking those posts and have also been going and making sure that I'm getting some traction and some exposure over there, which is awesome. So all of you folks on X, speaking about that, let's take a look and see. Well, there's 7 people watching over on X. Thank you very much for joining. I do appreciate it. Hopefully you will enjoy the program and catch up on my posts over there. Make sure that we gotta make that hashtag trend. Personally, I want to see it trending. Anyway, so there was a interview. Now, I personally am not a big fan necessarily of Joe Rogan. Okay. I don't really listen to Joe Rogan. But every so often, I mean, he's got great guests. And let's just put it this way. He is a fantastic podcaster. He has to be, because he has got millions and millions and millions of viewers. I don't even know how many millions of followers he actually has. And not only that, but he is the #1 person on Spotify, such that they actually, said no to the woke crowd with regards to canceling Joe Rogan and signed him to another contract. At least I think that's kind of how it went. But anyway, he had a guest on by the name of Michael Malice. And Michael Malice, basically, he broke it down for everything that's going on. Oh, gosh. You know what? I'm just going to let you take a listen. Hold on. Let's just take a listen to what Michael Malice thinks of Kamala Harris.
Right. If you're going after Officer Harris, you're either racist or sexist or ableist.
Right.
So they will use...
Ableist.
Yeah, because she's a retard. She's literally retarded. I mean... Ukraine is a country in Europe, and Russia is another country, and a powerful country, and Russia invaded Ukraine, and that's wrong.
What's really important is what can be unburdened by what has been.
I think of her as America's wine mom, because bitch seems like she's 3 deep by noon, and she's got the 3 phases of wine mom. She's got happy drunk. Oh my God, this cereal's got a rabbit on it. It's so great. Cackling, cackling, cackling. Then there is trying to drunk at work, where you're trying to make sense, but you don't. Space is around us all and unites us all and inspires us all. And then there's I'm being stern so you don't realize how plastered I am, and I'm making a point. Dr. Little Girl was me. Now I'm going to go upstairs and don't knock on the door because I'm going to pass out. So those are her 3 ways she talks, and those are the wine mom phases.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
I swear I lose. I'm losing freaking brain cells thanks to you folks. I mean, I got to bring this shit to you. Oh my God. That is just so horrible. I can't even imagine. Oh my God. The idea, the idea that she can actually withstand an attack or interaction with Donald Trump is just, I mean, oh my, I'm telling you, her IQ has got to be lower than freaking dirt, I'm imagining. But anyway, wow. All right. But hey, at least we're not the only ones that are noticing it. And I tell you, you know what? If Joe Rogan can have more people on that discuss her lack of experience, knowledge, intelligence, her cackling. I mean, there's a lot of freaking Democrats that watch that. It's kind of like when Bill Maher does his stuff and he goes off on Democrats. They're not our friends. Believe me, they're not. I mean, they're not like card-carrying Republicans. They're not card-carrying conservatives. They're not anything like that at all. But hey, as I believe it was Sun Tzu who said, when your opponent is making a mistake, don't get in their way. So these guys are freaking making our case for us. Yeah, we got to make sure that that these people definitely get highlighted as much as possible when it comes to stuff like this, because Kamala Harris is just a train wreck when she is not on a scripted thing. It's sort of like AOC. When AOC was being asked about her positions on the Middle East, and she tried to pawn it off as though she was some Middle East expert, and she ended up freaking crashing and burning during the interview. Just don't get in their way. Let them freaking do this. And honestly, I mean, Donald Trump needs to make sure that she is attacked not on her ethnicity. Leave that one. I mean, honestly, just leave it alone. Everybody pretty much knows it's a known quantity. I mean, just leave it alone. But go after her for her policies. Go after her for her stances. Go after her for her past views and her current views, and showing how bad of an individual she actually is. You know, so but hey, I'm going to keep showing videos when I find stuff like that. I'm sorry. It's just because of the fact that we have to demonstrate. We have to prove, and well, we don't have to prove it to us, but we have to prove it to the left that, hey, you guys are, once again, only morons vote Democrat. That's it. That's it. And by the way, just as a final little piece, and a final thought, my baloney has a first name. It's OSCAR. My baloney has a second name. It's MAYER. Just remember that. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. That was a thing about over in the chat. Over in the chat, the Rumble had something going on. Anyway, okay. All right. So let's get into some seriousness. But before we do, I'm going to tell you, you need to go and check out my store. If you're a fan of the show and you don't have a shirt like this yet, okay, or a sweatshirt or something along those lines, I'm telling you, you've got to go and check it out. Go to my store. Go to store.americanperspective.online and pick up a t-shirt, a tank top. You can pick up a mug or a covered glass, like a water bottle. There's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that I have there. Go check it out. Store.americanperspective.online. And hey, summer will eventually be over, and you'll need those hoodies and those crew neck sweatshirts as well. They're still there, so you can go and check that out. Go to store.americanperspective.online and get your logoed gear today. And of course, I thank you for all of the support on this program, because this show is for you. It is for you. Okay. So a little bit more, I should say, on the shooting of Donald Trump, that of course the mainstream media, Google, Meta, they're all freaking digging in on all of that. And so, yeah, really quick, sorry, off topic, off the rails. Music Man, what are you talking about? That's all I got to ask. Okay. So to get back to this, we're starting to actually get some more information, in terms of what's going on, with the shooting, for Donald Trump. Now, I'm not going to cover it in depth, mainly just because of or at least I'm only going to give a few highlights, mainly just because of the fact that, Dan Bongino, if you guys haven't seen his podcast over the course of the last several days, he has been on this because he has been a Secret Service agent, so on and so forth. And he's got 12 years of experience in the Secret Service. There's nobody that I would trust or even come close to being able to understand the inner workings of the Secret Service and how all of that came about. But you should go and check out the Dan Bongino show and check out a lot of his thoughts and, points and things that he's making with regards to this entire, thing. So anyway, as far as this system or this shooting, the Secret Service director has been putting out some stuff with regards to with regards to some new video footage that has shown up. And he basically is trying to tap dance around the idea that they couldn't see the shooter, that they didn't know where he was, that he was up on the rooftop and they didn't know what was going on with him. And here you can see in this image that I'm showing you, this video that I'm about to hopefully play for you. I didn't previously play this one, but let's give it a try. That there was, this is one of the people, this cell phone angle, by the way, is from one of the people who actually got shot. All right? He actually got, this is the person who took this video actually got shot. And so this is a perspective of the individual, and hopefully it'll highlight where this individual was, or the shooter was. But here.
All right, stop what you're doing. Take a look at this chilling new video taken by one of the men actually shot during the Trump assassination attempt. Shows a figure moving across the roof just moments before shots were fired. And today, former President Trump expected to be interviewed.
So I don't know if you guys caught that. Here, let me back it up and we can play it again.
All right, stop what you're doing. Take a look at this chilling new video.
You can see in the red
taken
circle
by one of the men
head.
actually shot during the Trump assassination attempt. Shows a figure moving across
and now
the
he's
roof
up
just
on
moments
top. You can see
before
almost
shots
his
were
full
fired.
waist,
Today, former
almost
President
down to
Trump
his waist, showing above the roof line. Now, how the snipers, the counter sniper team, missed that is completely beyond me. But there was obviously, I mean, let's just call it several seconds of him being visible from the ground, moments before the shots rang out. Well, apparently, there's now been a couple whistleblowers that have come up, and one of them in particular told Republican Missouri Senator Josh Hawley that Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe personally directed the cuts to the counter surveillance division, which led to the threat assessment team failing to perform its typical duties prior to the rally. So, Rowe being named the acting director is just, I mean, he's the cleanup guy. That's what Bongino has been saying, is like, look, this guy's the cleanup guy. He's not the new director. He's the cleanup guy. And so anyway, yeah. So the whistleblower supposedly alleges that the CSD, the division that performs threat assessment at events sites before the event occurs, did not perform its typical evaluation prior to July 13th. Hawley, of course, wrote a letter to Rowe on Thursday. This is significant because CSD's duties include evaluating potential security threats outside the security perimeter and mitigating those threats during the event. The whistleblower further alleged that if CSD had performed their normal duties, the shooter would have been handcuffed in the parking lot. The whistleblower claims that if personnel from CSD had been present at the rally, the gunman would have been handcuffed in the parking lot after being spotted with a rangefinder. Yeah. So, things are not looking good for these folks. Things are not looking good for the Secret Service. It's just, and you know, I'm going to be honest with you. This is much better than, of course, the whole JFK assassination, because here, everybody has a freaking camera and everybody has the ability to take video from their angles and so on and so forth. Well, there's also another whistleblower that has come forward that brings a new angle or another angle to this whole situation. The Daily Caller. Acting Secret Service Chief, who is Rowe, retaliated against agents who had security concerns at the event. So this whistleblower alleged that the acting director personally cut security resources and retaliated against agents with security concerns leading up to President's rally on July 13th, according to a letter that was released on Thursday, which was yesterday. The whistleblower alleged that Rowe personally implemented significant cuts to the counter-surveillance division, which does advanced threat assessments for venues, and alleges that agents who expressed security concerns were retaliated against. Again, this is further implicated in Senator Josh Hawley's letter to Rowe. So, yeah, I'm telling you, folks, this is not good. Now, I've maintained honestly that the Department of Homeland Security was the one that is to blame for all of this, because of the fact that the Department of Homeland Security, which is the overarching organization of the Secret Service now, where the Secret Service used to be part of the Treasury, this is now, above them. They changed from the Treasury over to DHS. And it seems that DHS, which, by the way, who's that guy in charge of that? God, I can't think of his Alejandro Mayorkas. Huh. Yeah, I have a feeling that there's a reason why Alejandro is doing the things that he's doing, because Alejandro definitely does not like Trump. Well, speaking about Alejandro and the Biden Department of Homeland Security, this showed up also in the Daily Caller. Biden DHS alleged to have tried to suppress a critical January 6th report. Yeah. What? So, Inspector General Joseph Kufari accused Biden's Department of Homeland Security of trying to suppress a report concerning the Secret Service's response on January 6th, 2021. Now, don't forget, on January 6th, all of the text messages and things like that were magically disappeared in some sort of a data corruption situation. But Jonathan Meyer, who is the DHS's head lawyer, vehemently denied the allegation and stated that DHS does not want to prevent Congress from reading the entire report. He added that DHS will redact security-sensitive information pertaining to the Secret Service's operations, according to a June 25th letter that was actually reviewed by Politico. So, yeah, this is not good. The congressional sources told Real Clear Investigations the above report has been sitting on the secretary's desk since at least April. So, yeah. Similarly, it was reported on January 6th that individuals with weapons were in an area outside the White House. And they're also bringing in the entire thing with regards to Vice President Kamala Harris being at the DNC with that allegedly active pipe bomb. Yeah. So don't be surprised, by the way, that more and more of this stuff comes out as we get closer and closer to the election. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the fact that there's some people in here, and Bongino actually brought up this point, but there's some people in here who are going to basically say, you know what, I don't want to lose my job over this bullshit. And so don't be surprised if we start seeing more and more information coming out, not only on Biden and, the DHS and the Secret Service botched situation on the 13th, as well as Cocaine Gate. Yeah. So there's going to be some more and more information here that is going to be coming out with regards to this. And I'm telling you, I personally, I'm not one necessarily to jump in and say, oh, this is like a complete conspiracy theory. This could potentially be, as simple as just mere incompetence. But it's starting to add up more and more that somebody severely hampered operations in terms of all of this to make it available, to make them open up holes in the hopes that somebody was going to take advantage. And there's also a possibility, because I've heard of some unconfirmed reports, that the shooter's phone had pinged near some FBI buildings, some local FBI buildings. Yeah. I don't have any confirmation on those reports, and I've only seen it in a couple of spots, but yeah. Not to mention the fact that this individual, and I'm talking about July 13th, that individual actually had bombs that were created in his car. And that is assumed to make it to where if he were to light it off, which, by the way, and this is confirmed, cell phone frequencies were jammed shortly after the attack on Donald Trump and the shooting on Donald Trump. That's confirmed by Sean Parnell, who was there and was trying to get a hold of his kids to let his kids know that they were okay. Well, I can tell you, as a admittedly RF engineer, that is entirely possible, that cell phone jammers do exist, and that they would honestly be deployed in that kind of a situation in order to avoid the chance that somebody can light off or press a wireless remote button to light off a bomb. And the intent may not have been necessarily, depending upon the position of the vehicle, it may not have been necessarily a method to kill more people, but it also could be that it was a possibility, and this has been suggested, that it was a possibility to cover up his escape, that he was assuming that was going to be an escape. So, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on around here, and this freaking situation, I'm going to tell you, just like January 6th, this and the pipe bomb too, because let's face it, the pipe bomber, hasn't even been found. And yet, for whatever reason, they were able to find grandma running around on the Capitol grounds, but they can't get the pipe bomber. I mean, there's just a lot of shit right now that's just stinking to high heaven. Yeah. I don't know if I'd necessarily would have followed around on the idea that we have a severely corrupt government, but it's starting to look more and more like it. At least having several people that are part of government. And again, that's that unelected bureaucracy that is running around in the halls of power, that is, doing all kinds of bad things in the environment of government. All right. So our economy, some economic numbers have come out, and unemployment, by the way, is up. It rose again, and actually it's been rising for the last couple of months. The stock market has been taking a hit. There's companies like Intel and Apple and so on and so forth that are talking about layoffs and have been preparing for layoffs. And so there's a lot of uncertainty right now. There's a lot of indications that we might be heading once again back into a recession. Well, now let's be honest. Going into a recession does not look good for the Democrats. Doesn't look good for Kamala Harris. It doesn't look good for Joe Biden. And obviously, it is definitely not good for the American people. But for whatever reason, they seem to want to keep pushing the fact that the economy is doing absolutely wonderful. Well, I'm going to tell you, folks, I don't see it, and normal Americans don't see it either. Anyone who goes and buys groceries doesn't see it. Anyone who goes and buys gas doesn't see it. Anyone who pays rent and mortgage payments and things like that, if you happen to be in an adjustable rate mortgage, doesn't like it and doesn't see it. And that, honestly, is what we have to focus on in November, is something along those lines. We have to pay attention to that, the economy, and the number of illegal aliens that have crossed here. Those are the ones that we need to pay attention to. Well, as you know, and I've used them before, I've used them actually in terms of the gun crime statistics and so on and so forth. But there's this website out there called Just Facts Daily. And Just Facts Daily doesn't have any kind of a slant, doesn't have any kind of a, political agenda, from what I can tell. They just simply look at the facts and report what the facts are. Well, this article came out, or this post, I guess, came out, and it proves what we already know, is that as of right now, we are heading toward potential bankruptcy. So here we are. The federal fiscal burden consumes 93% of America's wealth. So here in the article, it talks about a data that came from a U.S. Treasury report that the federal government has amassed $142 trillion in debts, liabilities, and unfunded obligations. This staggering figure equals 93% of all the wealth Americans have accumulated since the nation's founding, estimated by the Federal Reserve to be $152 trillion. Unlike other measures of federal red ink that cover an arbitrary period, extend into an infinite future, or ignore government resources, the figure of 142 trillion applies strictly to Americans who are alive right now, and includes the government's commercial assets. Thus, it quantifies the financial burden that today's Americans are leaving to their children and future generations. Now, according to the piece, federal law requires the U.S. Treasury to publish an annual report that details the government's overall financial position. In addition to the national debt, the financial report of the United States government also includes the government's explicit and implicit financial commitments, such as federal employee pensions and other retirement benefits like health care, environmental liabilities such as contaminated nuclear sites, and unfunded obligations for social insurance programs like Medicare. So, yeah, our government is spending us into oblivion. That's what's happening here. And, I love the idea that people seem to have, and in particular what I'm talking about are the moron Democrats who believe that we can tax our way out of this. Okay, but the fact of the matter is that isn't going to get us anywhere. I also love the idea that the moron Democrats seem to believe that the Social Security and Medicare can just continue in perpetuity without any changes, when it's going to become insolvent in just a matter of a few years. And I love the fact that the moron Democrats seem to think that a politician any politician, doesn't matter which side of the aisle that they're on, that any politician is going to outright say, oh yeah, we're cutting those programs. We're cutting Social Security and Medicare. Flat. That isn't happening, people. Not one single politician that I know of has ever stated that they want to cut Social Security and Medicare programs. What they have said is that we need to restructure things like that such that they can expand and make sure that the solvency, that the programs can continue into the future. Because every single politician, no matter how stupid they are, like AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Cori Bush, I could keep on listing, Adam Shifty Schiff, I could, Chuck Schumer, they all know, they're not stupid, that they are going to commit political suicide if they try to cut Social Security and Medicare. That is not something that's going to happen here, folks, people. So anyway, so the Government Accountability Office stated that such fiscal expenditures represent significant commitments that ultimately have to be addressed. Thus, the GAO stresses that ignoring them can make it difficult for policymakers and for the public to adequately understand the government's overall performance and true financial condition. And yet that is exactly what the media does, is they gloss over all of this stuff. So although the Treasury actually published the report in February, Google News indicates that no major media outlet has mentioned it. Meanwhile, the same outlets had frequently reported on the national debt and the federal budget, which are incomplete measures of the federal government's fiscal situation. So and of course they point out that the federal budget and the national debt are mainly based on cash accounting, which is a very simplistic process of counting money as it flows in and out. So in other words, the reason why they focus on it is so they can utilize that information to dupe or mislead an otherwise ignorant public into thinking that everything is okay. I actually had a person on X who pointed out, they were like, the Trump tax cuts added $7 trillion to the debt. And of course, I responded to them and said, well, right now, Biden's running at about $8 trillion in debt right now without any tax cuts and is on pace to do even more to the debt. And this is true. So even though the tax cuts added some to the debt, it increased the amount of revenue that was coming in. And that's the part that a lot of these people, a lot of these leftist morons don't seem to understand. That if we increase revenue, that lowers the amount of tax burden that the American public has to pay. The problem here, of course, is that in order for us to get rid of our debt completely, just like a credit card, and this is the easiest and simplistic example that I can give you. Credit card debt adds interest every month. That interest payment is the price that you pay for borrowing the money from that credit card company. But what happens is, if all you do is make the minimum payment every single month, you are actually not dropping your balance hardly at all. In fact, it doesn't even make a dent in the balance, generally speaking. And so what you have to do is you have to do one of two things. You have to either cut your use of that credit card, in other words, cut your spending, and then in order to help pay it off in a faster manner and hopefully save money on all of that interest, you have to make more than the minimum payment. And as of right now, our federal government is literally spending more than we have the ability to pay back. That is why our debt keeps climbing the way that it is. That's why our debt is in such a manner. We need to start cutting spending and increasing the incoming money, which is essentially increasing tax revenues. You're not going to do that by taxing people. That's not going to do it. What's going to happen, or what's going to make it effective, is lowering tax rates and expanding the economy, getting the economy moving. So that is what needs to occur. We need to cut taxes. We need to cut regulations in order to get the economy to open up, and the tax revenues will increase. This is exactly what happened during the Reagan years. It happened after the tax cuts that pretty much every time taxes and regulations are cut, it has demonstrated that we have gained an extra amount in revenues. These Democrats, these moron Democrats, don't seem to get it. They can't pass Econ 101 anyway. And supposedly AOC got a degree in that. She's one of the stupidest people of all inside of government. Oh, well, at least inside of Congress anyway. All right. Well, one of the things that has been talked about, even on this program, has been the idea that artificial intelligence, or AI, is liberal leaning. And as I've pointed out, because of the way that they program AI is exactly why AI is liberal leaning. I mean, think about it. Google AI comes from Google. Google is a leftist organization. All right? Any other ChatGPT is another left-leaning developer. Most of the developers in Silicon Valley are all left-leaning because they're in freaking California. Hello. But anyway, it's all been an observation for the most part by people just typing in simple questions and seeing what the answer comes back as. But a lot of people have said, oh, that's just anecdotal. That's not reality. That hasn't been done on a study-based level. Well, this article in the National Post kicks that to the curb. So here, a study confirms that AI is actually biased against conservatives. Research confirms that artificial intelligence large language models have leftist political preferences. And in an investigation assessed 24 large language models, including Google's Gemini, OpenAI's ChatGPT, and even Elon Musk's Grok, to determine the political values, party affiliations, and personality traits. The research, which was led by David Rosato of a New Zealand organization called Otago Polytechnic University, utilized 11 different political orientation assessments, including the Political Compass Test and ICNIC's political test. The results indicate that the large language models predominantly produced answers categorized as progressive, democratic, and green. The use of AI in products such as search engines has raised concerns, particularly amid accusations from figures like former President Donald Trump and Elon Musk that it could interfere in elections. Elon Musk posted a screenshot of a search for President Donald Trump on X, which suggested President Donald Duck and President Ronald Reagan instead. Similar experiences are reported by X users who claim they received news about Kamala Harris while searching for Donald Trump. Previously, Google's Gemini caused controversy by refusing to generate images of white people, as well as generating images of ethnic minorities in historically inappropriate contexts, such as When asked to depict a Viking, Adobe's Firefly has engaged in similar historical revisionism, depicting America's founding fathers as black and depicting soldiers in Adolf Hitler's army as racially diverse, among other inaccuracies. Yeah. This is not good, folks. If you're using one of those AIs, which, by the way, whenever I do a search on Brave has its own AI, by the way. But whenever I do a search on Brave, I usually avoid the answer that the AI provides me and go to the things underneath. Now, a lot of people, think, okay, Brave, Brave, I will say, as far as for my personal search engine, I will say doesn't give as many responses as something like Google would. However, it does appear to be a lot more accurate in terms of being able to balance the scale and the difference between conservative and liberal leaning outlets. For an example, if you put in President Donald Trump assassination in Brave, I haven't seen, now granted, I haven't done this in a couple of days, but I haven't seen where they are suppressing Donald Trump's assassination attempt information. However, if you do that in Google, you do know that the autofill function doesn't even pull it up. Yes, actually, Brave can erase your search history just like any of the others, by the way. That's a setting that you have to use within the Brave browser in order to do it. Now, guys, I know you guys are saying DuckDuckGo, but I don't know if you saw the article a long time ago, at least within the last year, where DuckDuckGo was actually utilizing and attaching to Google for its search results. So I'm not sold on DuckDuckGo. I know it was an alternative for a while, but then they were discovered to be doing something that is nefarious underneath, which is part of the reason why I went to Brave. Because I used to use DuckDuckGo. And in fact, I do use DuckDuckGo on my mobile device. I use Brave on my laptop. My computer, not my laptop. I don't have a laptop. But DuckDuckGo is not, to me, it's not quite as good either. So if it were me, I would just use Brave, but that's just me. Anyway. All right. Let me see. There's one other thing here that I've got. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to talk about that. All right, folks. Thank you all for joining and being here. Of course, if you haven't done so already, please head on over to rumble.com and sign up for an account. It is free. Rumble.com is the free speech alternative to YouTube. And once you are there, make sure that you search up and follow, hit that green follow button and follow the American Perspective channel. That being said, if you are on Rumble already and haven't done so, please make sure that you sign in and hit that thumbs up button, because that'll get me onto the leaderboard eventually, and I would love to be there. We will see you tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, because it's Saturday, for the next installment of the American Perspective with Rick Thomas show. You guys have a great rest of your evening, and be safe tomorrow if you're doing anything special. And, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
The previous broadcast was produced and is owned by Active Eye Media LLC. All rights reserved.